What is up, everyone? Finally back, Ross. We're on a little bit of sabbatical. Welcome everyone back to the fantasy scene on the all-new Raw Sports Network. A couple changes, guys. Thank you for everyone that was been reaching out, asking about the show. We did have a little bit of a change. Obviously, new name, same great show, but we're promising to bring you a lot of new and exciting coverage. But as always, I am here with my buddy Rossi. Ross, how's everything? How was your little sabbatical? Did you figure out new ways to draft Max Muncy?
I have 2 drafts this week, so
yeah, I know. Yeah.
And I already have them in two other leagues.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. So Ross, I mean, let's start with the outfield position, okay? Who's the best? Let's go into it. The outfield position is loaded. We've had this discussion. I actually had this discussion today with my boss. He is a baseball enthusiast. He thinks fantasy sports is stupid. So he has no concept of the fantasy sports. So when I ask him, hey, I have the second pick in this draft, who are you taking? Assuming Trout goes number 1. And we actually agreed. For me, the best player in fantasy baseball, if you look at the numbers, is Juan Soto.
Now you're saying Juan Soto best player after Trout?
I'm going out on a limb and saying that this will be. Now I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. This will be the last year that Mike Trout will be the unanimous number 1 overall pick. Listen, the kid is young. The kid is 22, 23. He has performed phenomenally in his first 3 years. And the kid already has a World Series championship under his belt, which he carried his team to. He played phenomenal throughout the playoffs.
This is baseball. There's no one guy that carries you to the World Series.
But one good guy can really put
you over the hump with the other guys, but it's never one guy.
Yeah, I guess. So I mean, let's talk about it. Obviously, I told you who my number 1.
I don't have any one of these guys. I mean, on this list, I have 8 guys. So me personally, I think any one of them could be the best outfielder this year. But if you had to ask me who's your number 1 pick, I go Trout every year, only because he is top 10 every single year after year after year after year.
He's consistent. Absolutely.
That's why he's a consensus number 1, only because of the consistency. Can Soto be better than him? Of course. 100% he could be better than him. But it's the consistency. Like Acuna. Can Acuna be better than Trout and Soto? I think so.
Well, I mean, if you really look at, speaking of him, if you look at it, he's got the highest ADP of anybody is Ronald Acuna. And I don't see it because here's my thing. I'm looking at it, and this guy is a strikeout machine. Average isn't great, but if you look at projections for this guy, they're projecting him in like a 280, 285 hitter. If he does that, yeah, then he's going to be the number 1 pick, but I don't see him getting to 280, 85. I just don't see it.
That's why I say Trout's the number 1 pick, because you may say Soto. I say Yelich. Someone else says Acuna. Someone else says Betts. Someone else says Bellinger. Everyone could be right. It's your projection. But statistically, every single year, who's done it? Trout has done it.
Yeah, he's Mr. Consistent.
Joe, Acuna's putting up numbers. He can get you stolen bases. So, it's possible he could be your number 1 guy. So now, am I saying that guy who picked him number 1, oh, you're wrong, you're an asshole? No, you can't. You really can't say that. He is a top outfielder. He's in my top tier. So if anyone has tiers, I think you can pick anyone. You can put Harper there. Really?
That's pushing it. I don't see that.
Only
Harper is.
The guy can hit you 40 home runs.
No,
He can
I get that,
hit you
but
with a
again,
high average. He can get a lot of RBIs. That guy can be your number one. Can Judge be your number one, Joe?
no. And I'm going to
Why?
tell you why.
Why?
Because
Will
I
you
factor
agree? I
health in.
wouldn't make him number one. I wouldn't make him. I wouldn't even draft him in the second round. I love him.
I
wouldn't
factor.
draft him.
I'm
Number one.
factor for me for Judge. The reason why he'll never be, a top pick for me is because he hasn't proven that he can stay healthy. That's for me the biggest thing is durability. Stuff like that has to play. Listen, I just don't think for Bryce Harper right now is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 between 6 and 10. In terms of rankings for outfielders currently, and right now it's
if he's ranked sixth, right, and he has a big year, which he's had before, he can't be number one.
No, and here's my thing, and just to kind of give you again, I'm going to use, I've been using Fantasy Pros. That's who I just like the way they're set up.
Everyone out there, Joe, Fantasy Pros is a great site.
It really is, and we're not affiliated. We're not being paid by Fantasy Pros, but I really do like. If they want to pay me, no problem. But Fantasy Pros, I really do like the way it is. But I mean, look for argument's sake, okay? So we're going to compare right now. They have Acuna listed as 1. They have Harper listed as 6, right? But just to show you how close it is from 1 to 6, to kind of piggyback off of your point, runs it's 121 to 102. So it's a 19 run difference in Acuna's favor. Home runs, it's a 5 home run difference. They're saying Acuna for 40, Harper for 35. Harper has the RBIs, 104 to 97. The big jump is going to be the stolen bases. Acuna's at 29, where Harper's at 14. Average, they're exactly the same. So if you really think about it, the numbers are super close, like super, super close.
Would you be surprised if Harper hit 40 home runs, Joe?
No, not in the slightest. I mean, in that lineup, it's a little bit different because I just don't think, I just don't see, Realmuto's, hurt. I mean, I know he'll be back. But he doesn't have much help in that lineup. I mean, I know you're a big fan of Didi, but Didi's not, no one's looking at Didi as a a threat. If they had a chance, if they have the option of, it is, but like, I mean, listen, not really. I'm looking at his lineup right now.
It's not Atlanta's lineup.
No, it's not. It's not, and that's why But again, he's in the 3 hole, so he's going to have more RBI potential and opportunities where. Acuna is going to be more of the runs. He's going to score more runs because he's leading off. But so who else is in your
Harper before Acuna? Of course, I'm not.
No, you'd be smoking crack if you did.
But he is. I mean, if I have him listed, I have 8 guys in my first tier. He's one of my guys. That's all. So can anyone? All I'm saying is any one of those guys, you won't be surprised. Would you be surprised if Judge stays healthy and hits 50 home runs?
Not at all. I mean, I would love that. I'm a Yankee fan. What's up, Billy? Billy Punch checking in. Fantasy Scene. Yeah, I mean, it's not. It would not be.
That's what I'm saying. See, first tier is going to be guys, Joe, that you think you got to go with your feeling and say, I like this guy. I think he's going to have a great year. Then you got to go, obviously, with numbers, track record, and say, realistically, is Trout going to be number 1? Yes. Is Soto and Acuna 2 and 3? Yes. Is Yelich going to have a year like last year where he hit 205 and he got 4 stolen bases? A lot of people are putting Yelich in the back end of the top 10. Now, does he belong to drop? If you're going by last year, Yelich is not a stud. Yelich is not a top 10 guy. So
no.
He's a guy that you can possibly sneak into the second round. Maybe. I can't see it. But if he's available in your 3rd round, you got a 1st round possible guy in your 2nd, 3rd round. So that's where, that's what you got to look at. The only thing is Judge. I personally definitely would not draft him in the 1st or 2nd round because it's just too much of a risk.
Yeah. And Billy just said it, Yelich is a big bounce back candidate. Absolutely. And again, guys, we've said it time and time again. So many factors come into it about who what your league setup is and whatnot, but also to not take too much credence into last year. Listen, 2 years ago, Yelich was an absolute monster. He had that bad year, like Ross has said time and time again. The good hitters, they have their ebbs and flows. Some guys just had the ebbs last week. Sometimes they had the flows. It depends on it. So it does. It really depends on, how much weight you're holding in that league. That's really about it. Just a quick reminder, guys. Also, you do not want to miss it. March 31st, live here on the Fantasy Scene. We will be doing our fantasy league, 10-man rotisserie league. We'll be drafting live online. I believe almost all 10 will be available online to do. So it'll be a little smack talk. We get to make fun of every single one of Ross's picks on the way to him not winning the league. But yeah, so we definitely want to make sure you join us for that. Yeah, and also big shout out to John. Said what's up to you and Ross from from last night. If anyone missed it, Dump and Chase, the absolute best hockey show around. Make sure you guys catch them every Tuesday night at 8:00 on the Raw Sports Network. But Ross, who is that? We spoke about the first tier. Who is your second tier of guys? Who is that? Listen, if you look at it, they're loaded at outfield.
There's a whole bunch of guys in the second tier. It's just an entire big list. For me, the guy I have on the cusp of first tier, second tier is a guy like Ozuna.
Okay,
that's my cusp guy.
Okay,
I feel he can be a first tier guy. Do I think he's gonna have a year like Soto and Acuna and Trout, maybe Bellinger, Betts? I don't really think so. I have him on the outside, but he is my number 9. Soon as those 8 guys are gone, my pick is Ozuna.
Okay, so I have the same thing built around me. I actually, my guys right on that cusp that I think can jump into the top tier. One specifically is Eloy Jimenez from Chicago. I think the kid's got a ton of potential, ton of pop. And the other one is his teammate, Luis Robert. The kid has he's got a violent swing. And I think that both of them in that lineup, I think Chicago is built to win. And I think that they're going to produce, with Anderson and Abreu in that lineup. I think that, both Jimenez and Robert are someone you can get in that 5th, 6th, 7th round and get a ton of value from.
There's a lot of guys like that, Joe. But the only thing with Roberts, the guy has so much hype. I believe he's too hyped. And I don't see how anyone can draft him early, 5th or 6th round for a guy like him who has no track record. I just don't see it. Eloy Jimenez the same. I just don't.
You can't say that. Luis Robert, I could understand.
I just don't see. He's had no track record. He's had one little short season last year.
No, Jimenez had
Robert.
Robert just had last year. But again, you have to factor in at some point. You have to factor in some of the the minor league. You've said it in the past. If a guy hits home runs in the minor leagues, chances are that's going to transition. If a guy steals stolen bases in the minor leagues, most likely is going to transition. So Robert has that potential, and he showed it in the small scale of 60 games. Listen, he hit 11 home runs in 52 games last year. That translates to a power hitter.
It translates to a guy with potential.
100%, yes.
A guy with potential. Now, for you to say that a guy can go into the top tier like a Jimenez and like a Robert, I'm with you. I am. That's who you like. That's who you feel you're going to project there. Good, but that's someone who's drafted in the 4th, 5th round. Me personally, it's too much of a risk on a pick from 1 to 5, you need to get your studs. You need to get your top tier guys. When they're all gone, you need to get what's next. Those guys that are on the cusp of 1 and 2. When those are all depleted, you can start taking shots. I just feel that in the 5th round, it's too early to pick up those guys. Agree a little bit?
Yeah. I get it. Maybe 5th, 6th, 7th was being a little facetious. Maybe a little too much. But again, those are two guys that are for me. I'm looking at because I'm looking at my list right now, Ross. Honestly, it's. I had to scroll down a little bit, and I'm scrolling down, and I come across a name like Yordan Alvarez. Yordan Alvarez has the potential to absolutely crush it.
Yes.
Listen, the guy's a 30, 35 home run guy. So, with that, he's batting about 275, 280. So they're projecting him along the same lines as an Acuna, but just a little bit less on the runs and the RBIs and stuff. But again, we'll get into it later, what we think about Houston Astros. For me, it's, he's another guy that, again, if he lives up to his potential, he's been in the league a little bit longer. He's jumped around from a couple teams, but he's another guy that just, not late round, but those mid rounds, I feel, Ross, I'm going to make a statement. Let me know if you agree with it. You do not win your leagues with the guys you draft in rounds 1 to 3. You win your draft. You win your league based on the guys you draft from 7 to 15.
Definitely, 100%. That's why I have a list of not guys to target, because that's important. I have guys that I stay away from, only because there's a lot of outfielders who are very pedestrian. Now, you need to fill spots as you're going down the draft. You see guys, they're projected here and there, but I feel a guy who's a pedestrian guy that's just like every other guy is not someone you should draft. That's where potential comes in. That's where Roberts comes in, Jimenez comes in, Alvarez comes in, because you don't want to draft a guy just because his name is Gallo or Buxton or Schwarber.
Right.
I think Gallo is a home run or nothing guy. I'm not even. Schwarber had 1 year. In the past 4 years, look at Schwarber's numbers. He's had 1 year in 2019. Buxton, all hype, has done nothing yet. But yet, he's got a lot of hype. Just like Jimenez. I think Jimenez, I like Jimenez and Roberts. Don't get me wrong, but those guys got hype. Yordan Alvarez, you can see it's a lot of home runs, but they have hype. But for me personally, until a guy does it, you can have the hype.
Yeah, no, I get it.
You know what I'm
saying? Yeah, absolutely. And actually, it's funny that you say that, because one guy that kind of falls into that category for me is a guy. You want to talk about a guy with hype? This guy legitimately fueled the Tampa Bay Rays to the World Series last year. Again, small sample size. Do I think he's going to be able to do that again?
You're talking about,
Azarena, whatever is. I can't pronounce his last name. The guy had a playoff. He had a. Yeah, we're both going to butcher his name.
But I see him listed right outside the top 10.
Yeah, right now he's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. He is listed at 16th, right? 16 right now. They're projecting him at 267, 24 home runs, 81 runs scored, 74 RBI, 18 stolen bases. Listen, I get it. Again, projections. Listen, the guy making the projections, this is his job. You're talking about basing this off of a guy.
You never rank on somebody's job. That's their job. But
that's their job. But he's played 42 games. He's played 42 games his entire career.
How do you predict? He had a great playoffs. So you know how many guys have good playoffs that 1 year and then come back the next year and suck? It's playoffs to me is just it's a small period in time, just like last year. It's a small period in time. It doesn't negate, but it definitely doesn't propel you to have a great year the next year.
No, definitely not. It definitely does not do that. It doesn't guarantee you anything. But again, like you go into it, it's how much hype are you buying into it? How much hype are you, what is it? Sorry, my boss is texting me while we're doing this because he's watching.
I tell you the truth,
he's watching me from the other room.
I tell you the honest truth. If Arena is there in the 12th, 13th round, 14th round, I'll take it.
You're jumping all over him, but I don't think he's going to be there.
Other than that, but that's good. Let somebody else take him. Just so we go. I want to give you this list of names that I am staying away from. I don't even want these guys on my team because I'd rather take a chance with a rookie or a guy that has hype. A guy like Verdugo, Alex Dickerson, Hap, Corey Dickerson, Kana, Nimmo, Dave Peralta, Dylan Carson, Nick Senzel, Jason Hayward, Tapia, Avisail Garcia, Polanco, Margot. I see these guys as all in the same group. They're just fillers. So if you need a filler at the end of the draft, take a shot on someone. Don't take a guy that you're going to put on your roster and then at first chance you're going to drop him to get somebody else. Get that somebody else now. Don't put them on your roster just to put someone. Have your list of those guys that you want to take a shot on. It's better than putting these guys on, listen, they're fillers. They can help you for a small period of time. I just think that they're just guys that you can find anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, one team, and I know now that I know that my boss is watching, I got to take a shot. One team in particular, and I know I'm going to get shit for it, but honestly, the Mets, okay, minus Conforto, I would stay away from the rest of their outfield. For the first time in about, I don't know, forever, the Mets actually have depth at positions. Okay, they aren't a frontline starter or a good starter with some bum as a backup. They have depth there. Okay, so you're going to see an outfield. It's going to be Conforto and then Almora. It's going to be Nimmo. It's going to be Dominic Smith. It's going to be kind of like a cycle. It's going to basically be what the Yankees have done in the past years, and that leads me into the next one is. Ross, what are your views on Clint Frazier? I mean, the guy has talk about potential, talk about hype, talk about everything. But you have that think of him as the house, and he's always got that little termite named Brett Gardner sitting in the dugout. They said that he's the starter. But how much time is Brett Gardner going to cut into his playing time?
I think if Frazier was on a team where you knew he was going to get 150 games or more, something in that range, he's someone that you want to target that can be sort of, I'm not going to say upper second tier. I can say lower second tier. I don't love Frazier. I just think he has a lot of potential, and he can, I don't know if he can be a stud guy. So, but he can be very adequate for you and have a really good season. He's never going to have the at-bats. So for me personally, to have him in a second tier, he just doesn't belong. He's not going to get those 150 games. He's not going to get the proper at-bats. And if he does end up with 135 games, 140 games, is he going to be good enough to put him over the top? I like Frazier, don't get me wrong. I just think that he's a guy you draft later on. But since we're in New York and everyone drafting is going to more than likely be guys from here, they're going to draft him higher. And he's a type of guy that goes too soon.
Makes sense. I mean, I definitely get that. And just the same way, like people, if you're in California, Padres and Dodgers are gonna, those the teams that you see, based on where you are in the market, the people that you see are the ones that are going to be the ones, those teams are going to be the more targeted because you see them more often, so you're familiar with them. And that's one of the, like I said, I have said it numerous times, that's one of the best parts about fantasy baseball is it makes you pay attention to all teams, and one guy particular that I'm looking at in the outfield position just got traded to a team that's not going to be so great, okay? But I think he has a lot of potential to have a great season there, and that's Andrew Benintendi. I think Benintendi is he's poised for a bounce back season. If you think about it, him and Salvador Perez, but like this is the first time in Benintendi's career where he's in the locker room and he's the man. Like that's it. He's the A chipper in the locker room. Like I said, you have Salvador Perez there. He's like the veteran presence. He's very, very good at catcher. But I think Benintendi is arguably the best hitter on their team. So it's it's not saying much. It's not saying much.
You got Merrifield there. You got Soler there.
But Soler is another guy. He's home run or nothing. He doesn't put up. He's another guy. Like I try to avoid him like he's the plague. I really do. That's a guy that he doesn't bring anything to me. See, for me, average is huge.
He's sort of a Gallo guy.
Yeah, there's a lot of those guys. There's a lot of those guys. I'll be honest with you. One guy that I'm you gave the list of people you're staying away from. The one guy I'm actually staying away from this year, call me crazy, call me whatever you want. I'm staying away from Charlie Blackmon. I feel that he's getting drafted way too high because he's a Colorado guy. And I really do, as we've discussed in episodes past, the Arenado effect on him and Trevor Story, I think, is going to have a greater impact than a lot of people are expecting. They just, I don't see him having as good of a season as he's had in years past. But again, that's me.
I agree with you, Joe. I usually have him as a cusp guy from my second tier to the first tier, right in the middle. He would be right next to Ozuna.
Right.
But I have him downgraded for that same reason. I don't think he's going to have the same kind of year he's had in the past. There's, you need protection in the lineup to be a star.
100%. That's absolutely. So now in Roto leagues, which we have one coming up, and this is going to be a nice segue. You ready? Watch how I do this. If you're looking for a cheap asset to steals, don't worry about it. Just my coworkers just walk in anytime they want. They don't even knock. You see this? I have no privacy.
You gotta get out of the bathroom, Joe.
I'm in the bathroom. You did speaking with the guy with the washer dryer in the background over there. So Roto League, one of the biggest things I've said in the past. Steals is probably one of the most important things in a rotisserie league. It's an easy category to win, but it's an even easier category to lose. Okay. And we're going to the AL West because we're going to be discussing them. I'm actually going to go against what I normally say, and I'm going to go towards the cheating Astros. And the guy I'm looking at, okay, is Miles Straw. I think this kid is going to be a nice, serviceable outfielder. He is the starting center fielder. He's replacing George Springer. I could see him getting 30, 35 stolen bases, but the caveat on this is this: he has to be the leadoff hitter. Right now, they are talking about between him, Correa, and even Altuve being the leadoff hitter. If this kid is the leadoff hitter, 100%, this kid's getting 30, 35 stolen bases. If he's further down the lineup, I don't see it as much, just because usually those guys don't tend to steal as much. But Miles Straw is a nice little sleeper for me. But we're going to transition now. We're going to
lineup, Joe. He still can get 30, even if he's in the bottom of the lineup.
Yeah, I mean he can.
Getting 8 or 9 is almost like a guy hitting first, but the only thing is you're not going to get as many at bats, but you're still going to get on base, and you still have protection in the lineup that you got to look at. He can still steal. I like it.
Yeah. So we're gonna
You're
transition
saying
now, and I get it.
you rank Houston. Are they your top team in that division? Like it mine?
No,
No.
they're not.
Well, my
They're
top two
not.
teams are Houston and Oakland. Who's your top team?
Oakland,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's the Angels.
Mm.
I'm going to tell you why. And listen, Oakland, you could flip flop Oakland and the Angels for me either way. Okay, I think the Angels. Rendon has another full season in the AL. Rendon, I think, is one of the top players in the league. Ohtani looks poised.
He can
and I'll
hit.
be honest with you,
Yeah.
I think this year, and it sucks because I have the number 2 pick and not the number 1 pick, but I think this year, Trout is going to go apeshit because all he heard all offseason was about how he's never in the playoffs. His
Right.
team never makes the playoffs, how he's never won a playoff game, and blah, blah, blah. And I think he's playing with that chip on his shoulder right now. They made a couple of nice pickups. Oakland lost a lot of players. Oakland lost Semien. Oakland lost Hendricks. Oakland lost a lot of players, but they still have a solid core. They made a trade for Chris Davis. But I think they traded Chris Davis out of Oakland. But he was kind of like on the tail end. The biggest thing that's keeping Houston for me out of first to second is pitching. They just don't have pitching. Verlander's not coming back, or at least not coming back soon.
And McCullers, they're not good. Right.
Listen.
Listen.
How much longer do you think Greinke's going to do this for? Ross, let's be realistic here.
How long can Verlander do it? They do it. Stud pitchers pitch. Until they don't pitch no more, you ride them. That's what you do. That's
Ross,
what
I get it. Greinke's projected to win 12 games, Ross. 12 games.
One thing in fantasy, never, ever, ever chase wins. No one can predict wins.
No, that's
the most hardest things to do. You can't predict wins because it's impossible to know what guys are going to hit home runs for you when you're on the field. Who's going to not make an error? It's impossible to predict.
Yeah. Because
he's going to get 12 wins. You're not surprised if he gets 18. Come on.
No, we were having this discussion at work today because, like I said, it's a Yankees-Mets split here. Well, actually, more Yankees than Mets. So we have our group chat and we're discussing. So obviously, the Mets fans, everyone's about DeGrom. So my boss is looking up the numbers today, and he sees that Montgomery for the Yankees has a .9 ERA and 3-0 record. He said so he's better than DeGrom, right? Because DeGrom's got a 1 ERA and he's 2-0, so he's the better pitcher, right? You can't go off of wins. You
can't go off wins. Wins doesn't tell you how good or bad a pitcher is, but a lot of people always, and even guys that have, and guys, sportscasters, he's got 10 wins, he's great, but he's got a 4 ERA. Come on. They're making a quality start, 6 innings and 3 earned runs. How can that be a quality start? That's a 4.5 ERA.
Yeah.
4.5 ERA. You don't even want him on your team. How is that a quality start? It's ridiculous.
No, absolutely. 100%. Listen, so DeGrom won the Cy Young a couple of years ago with what? 10 wins, 11 wins, something like that. Some ridiculous number. Super low, Felix Hernandez won it a couple years. His ERA and WHIP and strikeouts were astronomical.
So you can't you can't chase wins. It's a category. The main thing is wins. It's 25 points for a win. So you want wins, but you can't chase wins. You have to go with those pitchers that are good with strikeouts, pitch a lot of innings, has a low ERA and a low WHIP, and you hope that the team behind them gets you WHIP. Generally, the team that has a great lineup, is going to get you more wins. You're a great pitcher, and on a good team, that's where you're going to get your wins from.
Absolutely. So Ross, you said that you got You said Houston and Oakland?
Yeah, see, listen, I just think that having Gurriel and Altuve and Bregman and Jordan Alvarez and Carrera and Tucker, I just think that I know the cheating thing and whatnot. I just think that
They brought back the garbage cans?
they're going to rebound and they're going to have a good year. And their pitching, I mean, which lineup is better? I mean, other than having,
I mean, let's go through it. I mean,
Trout and Otani and Rendon and even Justin Upton, there's nobody else on that Anaheim team.
But I got to ask you a question. I mean, so here's my thing. You know, Otani, Cobb, Quintana, Griffin Canning was pretty decent last year. Andrew Heaney never lived up to the hype coming out of Miami. Dylan Bundy, another one. But my thing is Ross. All right, you want to say Zach Greinke, Lance McCullers? Okay, great. But then you have Framber Valdez, Jose Urquidy, and Christian Javier. You know, really. It's not. Then there's not. But if you're going to give me a lineup for lineup, I mean, I'm going to take the Angels 100% because you got Mike Trout and Rendon. There's nobody in the Astros lineup that lines up to those two.
There's no Trout and Rendon. I mean, Springer's gone, but the only guys that can really, if you look at past seasons, not last year, if you look at past seasons, Altuve's a stud, Bregman is a stud, Correa, so-so, not a stud. He gets injured too much. But if he's healthy for the entire year, that's another stud. So if you are not looking at last year, Joe, you got to say these guys are great. You got to go to the bathroom? Come in. Go ahead. Come in. Go to the bathroom.
Yeah, don't worry about it. He's climbing, so the people doesn't see you. He's from Bolivia. It's fine. He's used to it. He's starving. He had to come. The fridge is in here. So it's St. Patrick's Day. We ordered corned beef and cabbage, and now he's eating, I don't know, tamales. Yeah. I don't know. Okay, goodbye. Go away. Enjoy. Listen, we have guests all over. You know, they may not be participating in baseball, but we have guests constantly here on the fantasy scene. You know, God.
I just see their lineup there. I mean, if you're gonna go Trout, Rendon, who else do they have? Trout, Rendon, Otani. I mean,
Trout. Okay, so I'll tell you, Trout.
I mean, Pujols still gets you 25 home runs, but I mean,
no, Pujols isn't even starting. It's not even I don't even think Pujols is starting. So I mean,
Pujols is going to get the at bats.
Yeah, he'll get the at bats. You know, David Fletcher is a solid player. Mm-hmm. Justin Upton is going to get you. Yes. Is going to get you the home runs.
Solid.
You know, Dexter Fowler. He's not going to really get you that much. He's more of he's a mid-row guy.
Iglesias, Suzuki's, those are all just guys.
Yeah, it's but it's again. I mean, yes. Do they have? Houston has more top to bottom, but I think quality, like
top
quality goes to the Angels.
Top heavy goes to the Angels, yes. But team, which is more important, batter after batter after batter after batter, is Houston. And pitching staff, I just don't like Anaheim's pitching staff. I don't like Bundy, Quintana, and Canning. The only one I do like is Otani if he pitches, which he hasn't pitched.
I mean, he's been throwing gas into the spring.
We all know what he can do. We know what he can do. But again, is he going to do it? Is he going to pitch? Is he going to be able to pitch? We don't know that. Are they going to worry about him blowing his arm, going on the DL, and lose a pitcher and a hitter? So, yeah, they want him to do both because that's what his contract says. But in reality, they just want him to hit because he's a great hitter.
Right. No, I get it. So, I mean, obviously, I think we both have the same team at the bottom, right? Let's follow it. The Rangers. Yeah. I mean, they're another team, man. I mean, but if you really look at them too, Ross, they have some, for fantasy purposes, they have some guys that
possibly that could produce
100%. You know, you got the kid Kinfer Falefa. You know, obviously we spoke about Gallo. You know, David Dahl, not a bad little player.
Their guys are all pedestrian. I mean, can they have good years? Can they have solid years? I think so. I just think that every single person in that lineup is a pedestrian guy that you can just go to any team and find a similar guy someplace else. That's just for me. I don't see anyone special on that team. The only guy who's a guy I would stay away from is Gallo, only because he can hit you 40 home runs. So, a guy like Gallo, I would take him down the line, someplace in the 13th, 14th round. If he's still there, he's worth it to take. But not in a league where you need a batting average. Because if batting average means something,
you don't want to take him.
Yeah,
you want to stay far, far away from him.
Other than that, their pitching staff is horrendous.
Yeah, no, it's really bad. It's really, really bad. One team now. I mean, we're left. We're obviously left with one team, right? And this team, I think, is like a year or two away. They're going to have probably, when it's all said and done, once Kalanick, if he even plays, but he should. The kid's phenomenal. The kid that they traded for Edwin Diaz from the Mets, Kalanick with Kyle Lewis. They're going to have an awesome outfield. I think the team is super young, built with a bunch of potential, and I think they're they're going to be that annoying team.
Their pitchers not bad, Joe. Sheffield.
No, they signed Paxton.
It's not bad at all. They don't have a bad pitching staff. Their bullpen is not too bad either. They don't have studs, but they have nice, solid guys in their bullpen.
Yeah, and they got rid of that bum Edwin Diaz.
Timely hitting, you can find wins. So
100%.
It was a sneaky little team that can. I don't see them fighting for the division, but
I see them being that annoying team in the division.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely.
And listen, can anything happen? Can these kids, listen, every year there's that one team that no one expected to kind of come out the gate strong. And, listen, you start the season off, hot. You go into that All-Star break, the trade deadline, you go from being a buyer to a seller to a buyer. It makes all the world of a difference. It's just a matter of how's going on. They have a lot more issues, not just on the field. That whole round, town hall.
Well, Joe, that's why I like. I still think that with Andrus, Kana, they're pedestrian guys, but they can do something for you. A Laureano, Piscotti, Matt Olson, Chapman. Sean Murphy at catcher. That's a nice little lineup for Oakland also. So
100%.
That's why
consistent.
I have Oakland at the top two. Only because I think that they don't match. Again, they don't match with Anaheim with the quality at the top, but they do have a solid lineup throughout, and that's what I feel is better, because even when Trout gets up, hits a home run, Ohtani gets up, hits a home run, Rendon hits a home run, they're not hitting a home run every at bat. If they hit one home run a game, you have 150 home runs. So they're not hitting one home run every game. So if one of them hits a home run every game and no one's on base, they lose 1-0 every game. You need a full lineup, Joe. That's why saying that there's Rendon, Ohtani, and Trout really doesn't mean anything unless the rest of the lineup is solid. And I just don't think their guys towards the bottom are that solid. That's my opinion. That's all.
Listen, I get it. I'm not expecting us to agree ever, because that's just not what we do. But I think that for me, they're just super consistent. That's why I have them. That's why I have them 1, and then the Angels 2.
And I like to say something. I do agree with you when you say that what I'm saying is right. I 100% agree with you. All the time.
I strongly dislike you. Strongly dislike you. I gave Ike my list. I said, make sure you throw Max Muncy out. Even though it's an AL only league, throw Max Muncy out.
Nick is one of the guys in our league that is doing the draft for Joey because he's busy tomorrow night.
Yeah,
He's got to get married. I don't know.
I can't. My wife might be watching this. I can't say the wrong thing. No. We're in the home stretch. This is the closest we've ever gotten to the wedding. It's nerve wracking. I'm nervous. Oh my goodness. But yeah. So
you get married, not after.
Yeah, it's fun. Honestly, I've been in the business my entire life. I'm kind of used to it. But we're
31 years.
She
31 years. No. We're together 31 years. I'm married 23 years.
She deserves
That's how long I've been married.
She deserves a medal. We're gonna move into. It's been a little while because we had our little hiatus, and then you had the All-Star break, so basketball was away. But we are bringing back Joe Knows, and also Ross. I think you mentioned you have someone who's kind of almost a professional of this.
Sort of. I have a guy who actually he gives me picks every night, and he's pretty good. I'm not really one to do the basketball DraftKings and stuff like that, so I have a ringer, and he gives me some picks, and they haven't been bad. They haven't.
Nice. All right. So tonight, couple things you want to look for. A lot of guys are out. A lot of guys are out. A lot of guys are like, doesn't look like Jimmy Butler's going to play, or he's day to day. And you can kind of get a gist. I know not everyone who does.
I'm ready with my pen, Joe.
You're ready with your penny. All right. I know everyone, and I'm going to give you kind of a little tidbit of information. I know not everyone that does daily fantasy gambles, but my suggestion to you is this. When you're looking at specific teams, a la the Brooklyn Nets, okay? And they're playing a team, and they're 27-13, and they're playing a team like the Pacers, who are under 500, but still a very good team, and you see the Brooklyn Nets are an underdog in that game, there is a good chance that either Harden or Irving is not playing in that game. Okay? Just to give you an idea, because they shouldn't be an underdog to this team ever. But tonight they are. They're a 2-point dog. Tonight, someone that I'm big on is going to be Harrison Barnes. Going up against Washington. You get him for about $6,500. I think it's going to be a really, really good, really good value there. If you want the stud, I'm going to go same game, but I'm going to go Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal is, where was it? Where do I have him? He's right now, Sacramento is ranked 28th against shooting guards. Bradley Beal is one of the best in the league, right around $9,300. I think you're going to get a lot of value for him. And my last one for tonight is going to be, where did I put him? We're going to the Houston Golden State game. It's going to be Jae'Sean Tate from Houston. I'm expecting big things from him tonight. That team is kind of in shambles. They're making bogus trade picks with Miami for guys. They're making offers that are just never going to happen. But those three guys tonight are the way to go. I do have as of right now, I do have Butler still in my lineup until I see something. But I have a backup just in case. Just to run it down, I'll give you my lineup for tonight. It's going to be, you'll notice I'm pretty heavy on one game, but it's going to be Satoransky, Bradley Beal, Jimmy Butler, Harrison Barnes, Kevin Looney, Kevin Porter Jr., Holmes from Sacramento, and Thies from Boston. That's spending $49,900. Projected right now is to be about 280 points.
So you think that Westbrook is a nice pick there since he's been outperforming Beal?
He is. I mean, for me, it's for me the problem with the Westbrook is that where do I have him? Give me 1 second. I'll pull up Mr. Westbrook right now. Where do I have Mr. Westbrook? I don't even think I have Westbrook on my list.
He should be on your list.
He should. I mean,
I think he's a little
oh,
bit
no,
more
he's that's why I don't have him.
than Beal, but
He's out tonight.
not playing.
He is not playing.
See, that's why he's off the list.
That's why he is off my list.
That's why I don't pick basketball.
Yeah, he is off the list right now. He is right now projected to be out of the game. I'm just going to confirm that for you right now. Let's a lot of tools to use. It's one thing, let me tell you, for those who do it, they know it is not. It is a lot of work. Yeah, right now he turned his right ankle last game, and he was able to finish the game, but they may hold him out because honestly, Beal and company should be more than enough to beat up on the Sacramento on the Sacramento Kings. But again, that's something to monitor. But the problem is that with Westbrook, Ross, you know, right now he's 10,400, right? 10,400.
Yeah.
I'm getting almost the same value from Beal for 9,300. So I'm saving myself $1,100 where I could use that 1,100 somewhere else. You know, but yeah. So like I said, that was my lineup for tonight. But all right. So Monday we are back. Oh, I promise you, Monday is going to be a good show because we get into starting pitchers, we get into the NL West. And we get into the fraudulent Trevor Bauer.
Bauer's a nice pitcher.
I can't wait. Ross, I'm going to tell you now. We're gonna have a new segment next Monday, okay? It's going to be called Who Would You Rather? I am going to just put up the stats of two players, and you're going to look at them, and you're going to let me know who would you rather.
Which stats are you going to put up?
Oh, say no. The stats will be from the same time frame, same everything. They will be even across the board. They will not be skewed. We're going to have a new segment that we're going to add on Monday. Who would you rather? I think it's going to be fun, and then we'll talk about how fraudulent Trevor Bauer is. But guys, do not forget. What do we got? We have Sunday. 4:00. It's going to be wrestling with my thoughts with Jade Lowe. He's got a great show prepped. He's been very excited. Again, the hiatus for us kind of put a little dampering on it, but we'll be back stronger than ever. Monday we will be back. Tuesday, dump and chase. The guys are back talking hockey. Do not want to miss the what the F moment of the week, and we'll be back next Wednesday. But yeah, for myself, Rossi, everyone here at the Fantasy Scenes and Raw Sports, we'd like to thank you for joining us. Any questions, guys, please make sure to drop them. Drop us a DM, drop us a message. We'll always make sure to answer you. Ross, any last words?
No, everyone enjoy. By Monday, you'll know what happened in my two drafts. Hopefully they went well.
I hope one of them doesn't, but that's besides the point. All right, guys, everyone have a good night, and we're out.